Well, hello, everyone. Those of you who are out there that might be tuning in, I am doing some prep work, trying to get what I do before I put my pieces together. I have my husband make these panels. I put my artwork on these really nice panels, and those of you that kind of followed us along with Creative Quarantine, some of my pieces, I had him make these and then I sand them down. And I use the GAT to seal it because the GAT helps to seal this. So when I put down I use a gel medium. I use a gloss gel medium on here. And then I put down the pieces on top of this. And so I have these in the size that I need. So I'm going to come over and let you see that. We're going to do a couple of these today. So I have them already cut out. Here we go, in the size that I need. And I like using the GAT on here because the GAT keeps it so that when I put the gel medium down, it just doesn't soak into those. And then these actually are going to go right onto here. And they're a little larger because I like to have them a little larger, and I'll just cut and trim whatever I need to trim off of them. But this is how they'll look on the panel. So I like it to adhere them to these really nice panels. And then that way you don't have to do anything to them. They are just nicely adhered to panels, and then I weigh them down, and then I'll sit them here on the floor. I'll sweep all this up, because I don't want to have anything on the floor. And normally I have like a board or something like that down, or something that I can lay them on top of that's flat. I'm trying to see if my boards are over there. If not, I'll just use some other panel boards, because I have some other panel boards. So I'll let you see how I adhere these to the panels, but I'm just going to see if I need to add another. I've already added the GAT to it, and then I sand it down because I did have a couple of holes that I needed to seal. So I'm just sanding those holes down. And this is really nice and flat, so I like to sand those down, and I like to make sure my edges are all sanded down. Because what I do is I paint the edges, but I'm not going to paint the edges now because I want to see before I add them. Because once I cut the paper, it'll have a white edge. So when I paint the edge, I'm going to paint the whole entire edge. So I'm going to wipe the rest of the dust residue off because I don't want dust residue on it either. So I'm going to wipe that off. And then I'm going to take a wet cloth and really get that, wipe the dust off. So, but I think I'm going to do one more layer. I am going to do one more layer of the GAC, and I let my brush sit for a minute. I'm just going to do one more layer on here because I think I only did one layer, and I like to do 2 layers. And like I said, and see now I can tell that I've had layers on here because the GAC is just really, really going on smooth. Normally the first layer, you can see like big gaps in the flow of it. But here you can see it's just going on nice and smooth, not missing any spots, which is nice, which is basically what I want. And like I said, I like using this because it stops the wood from soaking up the gel medium, so the wood won't soak up. And I like to remove anything that I don't want on it, so it keeps the wood from soaking up my gel medium. You can see I like using this tiny little table because things fit on it so nicely. But this particular tiny table jiggles quite a bit. It jiggles. It's a jiggler. And so I'm just going to turn these sideways because I want to get this edge there. I want to get this edge done. So I'm going to go ahead and use this and kind of do the edge here because I will be painting.
Use the weights you need?
Yeah, I'm going to use those weights. I'm just going to paint these edges because I want to get the edges done. Yeah, I like using those weights whenever I can.
You want to start
Yeah, just right here. Yeah, we're gonna just put it right So, yeah, I'm just gonna use them right over there. So I'm gonna get all of this and fit it in. There we go. Get all these sides and edges done. Get all my sides and edges done. And so he's bringing up big weights. So once I'm done with that part, then I will weigh these down. So when I put the actual painting on. So we're gonna finish that up. Go. All right, now I got all the edges done. Even though the edges are going to be painted, I still like to make sure I put some GAC on them. Because even with the color, it helps the color stay where I want the color, and it's not gonna like absorb too much into. And when I put on the first coats, I always sand it down because I like to have it sanded down. So I'm just gonna move this over here and lay it flat on here. Move it over there and lay it flat. And this one right here, I only put one coat on. So I'm gonna sand it and then I'm gonna put a second coat on it. So I'm gonna move that on. And I do have to fill in, found a little hole in it. So I'll fill in. We fill that in, I'm gonna sand it down. It doesn't have to be like any fancy thing, because like I said, this is already covered with watercolor paper. But I definitely don't want any kind of bulging anywhere, so I'm definitely going to sand way off. And the other reason I'm sanding is because anytime you put some kind of liquid onto your wood, it's going to raise the neck of the wood, and I want to sand that down. Not really high, but it's going to raise it, so definitely want to sand that down because the nap of the wood is going to be up. So since I don't want that all over, I'm just going to sand it down. That way the nap of the wood will lay down, and I can feel if the nap is up. And I will sand it after the second one as well, because I sand it both times. So if the nap comes back up during the second one, I'll sand that down as well. And I can feel, and when I put this on, I can feel how smooth it is. I can feel how smooth it goes on versus when I first put it on, which is like, you can definitely tell the difference from the second coat than the first coat, because the second coat goes on a lot smoother, and I can feel the difference in laying down the second coat. There is definitely a much even feel to it. So I definitely can feel the difference when I lay down this second coat on here. And like the edges, I only coat once, because like I said, the edges are just going to be painted. So usually I coat the edges once and then I sand them down. So this I'll be coating twice. This is my second coat of this. My second coat, and then I'll put the edges on this because I didn't coat the edge the first time. I'm coating the edge the second time. So I'll go around and I'll coat all my edges this time. I'm going to go around and coat all my edges. I'm going to look at it so I can make sure I do it right. And like I said, I use GAC because the GAC, it'll keep it from absorbing. It'll keep my gel medium from absorbing too much into. So this is how I treat the panels. This is my way of treating the panels before I add my gel medium to adhere the painting to, before I add my gel medium to adhere the painting to the board. I like to seal it with the GAC. So we're gonna go ahead and put some more of that on. So, and do it along the sides. There we go. So that's nice and sealed. And I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges because I don't want it dripping on my floor. don't want it dripping on my floor. There we go. So I'm gonna move this. But as you can see, my studio is crowded. So I'm gonna move this over here. Move this over here. I'm gonna sit this one over here because I have several of these to do. So I'm gonna move this over here. Over there. And then I'm gonna do this one. And I did this edge already, but I didn't do the second coat on here. Or did I? I'm trying to see which ones I did. This one has a second coat on. So, yeah. Your jacket. So, let's do the second.
Is this on?
Here. Yeah, here, let me, hold on.
What, are you using it or?
Yeah, but you can use it.
No, I'll use this one.
Because you can use this one. I can just click on the, you can still use it. So, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna sand this down. Down, that's it, and I have another spot over here that I put. I'll sand that down, and then,
Ronsley Flowers is still in business.
okay.
I would think that they would do a good job. And they have a funeral service. They have funeral service.
Flowers?
Flowers.
Oh, okay, nice. All right. So let's sand it down. There we go. And there we go. I'm gonna move this over here. There. Now we got that all cleaned up. So let's see. We got that all cleaned up. And I'm gonna put another coat on here. I think I'm gonna put another coat, and I haven't done the edges. So I'm gonna put another coat on here. Yeah, I'm gonna do another coat on there. Put another coat on it. And Ronsley, we'll do that. Okay, so we'll do another coat. And let's see. Actually what I'm making, this is, these right here, I'm actually going to be putting the paintings on here. These are the backings for the paintings that I did during creative quarantine. Somebody asked the question, what am I making? And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adhering these paintings onto the panel boards. So these will be mounted onto the panel boards. So I'm going to mount these today because these paintings, they're going to the gallery. So I'm going to mount them, and it'll take about a day, depending on the paper. I use a very heavy watercolor paper, so it's like 1,100 pounds or something like that. It's more than 500-pound watercolor paper. So sometimes it takes a day, sometimes it takes 2 days for that watercolor paper to adhere. So I'm going to be mounting the watercolor paper onto this, but I have to treat the surface first. I have to treat the surface first. So that when I put the gel medium on, the gel medium stays where I want it to stay and not absorb into the paper and not into the wood. So that's what I'm doing. I'm preparing the surface for the gel medium. And what I'm using is the GAC. I'm actually using the GAC to prepare the surface for the gel medium. Okay, use all that. That GAC is all gone. Let me go get another GAC. Let me go get another one. So that one's all gone. Hold on. Let me just come over here and get the other one. And put count in. I'm gonna add a little up. I added a little water because normally I use the GAC 100, but this is the GAC 200, so I added a little water to it because I don't need it that, I don't need this GAC incredibly thick. Like I said, I'm just sealing the wood with it. I'm using this gap to seal the wood. So that's what I'm doing with this one. And let's see what's the other. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Ta-da-da. If you are on the hold on. If you are on the it depends on what page you're on. If you are on the page, what page is that? Living Out Loud page, it cannot be shared from there. But if you are on the Louise Cutler Studio, you can share it. If you're on my studio page, or if you're on my profile page, you can share it. But you can't share it from Living Out Loud. But let me see if I can send you a link so you can share the link. Give me 1 second, and I'll send you a link from my Louise Cutler Studio page, and then you can share that link, because you can't share it from the Living Out Loud page, because that's a different, with it being a group, it doesn't let you share links out of, it doesn't really let you share links out of the group page. So let me look at that, and I'll send you, I'm going to try to send you the link. This computer is running really slow today. It's running slow. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me see. Let me go back to that. I'm going to try to send you, I might have to send you, let's see if this one will let me share it, because the page, this page is really running slow. But if you're on my Louise Cutler Studio page or my Louise Cutler page, you can share the link from there. Okay, thanks. All right, so you'll go to, yeah, because this is running, it's hard for me to share it because it's running, this page is running incredibly slow. Oh, what's in my hair? I got stuff in my hair. All right, let's see. I'm trying to get that out of my hair. It's like some cotton. What were you looking for, Richard? Okay, so we're going to go over. Oh, your Bible is underneath this book right here. But that's your Bible right there. That's yours. There you go. Okay. All right. Just move that, Richard. You can just move that out of the way. Okay, so. All right, so we'll go back over here and finish this up. So I put another coat on here, and now I'm going to just put another coat on the edges of this particular piece. I'm just going to put it on the edge. And like I said, we'll be using this to mount the paintings on that were done during the, some of the paintings on that was done during the creative quarantine. This is what I mount my watercolor papers to. So all the papers are mounted to a panel, wood panel. So I like mounting them to these nice wood panels. So you can literally just take them home, order them, and frame them and put them up in your home. You don't have to, it's just like having a nice piece of canvas, only it's a nice piece of, it's a nice wood panel. So it's very nice to be able to have it on a nice wood panel. These are nice birch panels. And then what I'm doing, like I said, I'm treating them before I add all of the other stuff that I use. So these are being treated before I add the gel medium and before I add the actual painting. So this helps me to be able to put the painting on without having my gel medium soak and absorb all the way into the wood. So I have a few more of these to go. Not a lot, but I think I have, I guess I only have one to go. One more. This and I have this little one, but this little one is actually going to get done a little differently because I'm not going to adhere a painting to that little one. I'm actually going to adhere one of the bronze, not the bronze, one of the, so I had, this one I had to have, I'm gonna adhere one of the resins to that little one. So I'm filling it to see how much of the nap has raised because anytime you add a liquid to the wood, the nap raises. And so what I'm doing is I'm adding, so if the nap is raised, I can, so if the nap is raised, I'll be able to sand it off to bring the nap down because the nap will raise. So I'm gonna sand this one a little bit before I add the second coat. So, sand a little bit before I add the second coat. And I'm gonna sand it because I want to get the nap down. So sand it, get the nap down. That's what I do. You don't want to raise the nap when you're done. You want to keep sand it down. You want to keep the nap down. Okay, so there we go. Now I'm just gonna wipe it down, and I'm gonna wipe the edges down because I think these edges have not have a. I'm trying to see. Yeah, these edges have been coated, so I don't have to worry about those edges. And now I'm going to apply, and this is the last one, other than the little square one, and that little square one, like I said, that is going to get that one of the resin pieces. And so I'm going to work on that too, so that I can, I'm going to adhere the resin piece to that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put down a couple other pieces as well. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to finish putting this in, which is nice, very nice. There we go. And like I said, I can always tell that I've had one coat down because it goes on so smoothly the next time, which is always nice. And then if I see little particles, I just kind of take those little particles out. And that's the other reason I like to sand it, because if there's any little particles on here that I don't want, I like to sand those off. So there we go. So this one's done. We've gotten that one done. And this one I didn't have to do the edges because I did them already. So I'm going to bring that over here. And I'm just going to finish up this one. This one right here is the one, this is going to get this, this one is going to have this piece on it right here. And I've cleaned this piece up quite a bit so you can see it. And so this is actually going to go on here. I'm actually going to be cutting this down some because I don't want it to be as big as it is. But what I really like is it's going to fit really nicely on here. So I'm going to cut this down and see how much I'm going to cut it down. And so I'm actually going to mount this piece on here. So this piece will be mounted onto this panel. And that should be really, I think that's going to be really, really nice. That'll be a nice mounted piece on this panel. See? Very nice. That'll be nice. So I'm going to probably cut off quite a bit of it actually from this bottom. I'm going to put my tape here where I want it cut from, because I think it's from right there. Yeah. So this is where it's going to have to be cut from right here. So that much of it is going to have to be cut off. And then it'll be mounted to here. Yeah, that's about right. So about right there where it's going to be cut. Right in there. Use my fingers to kind of, there we go. And then I have a piece of tape right there. I'm just seeing where it's going to be cut. What were you reading that scripture first? You were going back over that scripture verse?
You need that cut off.
Yeah. I don't need it today. It's, whenever you want to cut it.
It won't take long. I
Okay,
just have to run it to the saw.
yeah, because I wanted to match
Can you
up.
mark both sides?
Yeah, let me find another, okay. Okay, so we'll mark both sides. And right there.
This,
Should I cut
I
off?
have to get some of that burlap off, I think.
I know, I'm wondering if I should cut the top from the top and from here to kind of make it all even, make it look the same. Because this is gonna have a straight one, and then this is gonna have a sort of a overhang thing. What do you think?
I don't get it.
Well, because once we cut this is gonna be straight. It's not gonna have the.
Yeah,
So, but then this kind of has this lip on it. So I'm wondering if I should cut this lip off. See, look right there.
that I can't fix.
No, I'm saying, should I just cut some
Oh,
on
you
the
mean
top?
it sticks down right here.
Right, so I'm wondering if I should cut
Well, I can
this.
grind that off.
Oh, can we? Okay, yeah, so I'm
And I
thinking we'll
can
do
kind
right
of
now.
even this up a little bit.
Okay.
Take some off the top and some off the bottom.
Yeah, it doesn't have to, I want to have more top than bottom. So this,
So that's okay?
yeah,
Okay.
we're just gonna have to grind off the edges of this little
No,
lay flat.
that should be fairly easy.
Okay, all right, then that's what we'll do.
Okay.
So, all right, that's it. So, I'm probably gonna have to go in here and get some of these little things out. You see that little sitting up
Yeah,
in this one. I'm not sure why they did that, but
not sure either.
yeah. So, all right, so this is gonna be exciting. All right, so we'll get that back in a little bit because that's going to be mounted to this panel. We're gonna mount that to this panel, and I'm grateful because my husband does all that. Woohoo. I don't have to do any of that. So I'm gonna sand it because we did fill in a few holes on here. I'm gonna sand this down. And do a little bit of sanding right here, because we did have to fill in a couple of holes. I'm just gonna fill it, make sure those holes down nicely. And so we're gonna go ahead and use some GAC on this. And because this one, I'm only gonna do it once. I'm only gonna do the GAC once. I'm not gonna do it twice on here because it's not necessary. Because this one is going to be covered. This one we're going to adhere. I have a few things that I'm adhering today. I have to adhere this one. And that one, I still have work to do on it because I'm going to start working on painting that one, which is going to be exciting because I have no idea how I'm going to paint that one or what I'm going to do or the things that I'm going to use on that one. So, and this, as you can see, this is a little bit, because this one hasn't been painted before. So I really have to pay attention to the mist spots and all that kind of stuff. And it's a lot rougher to cover because it hasn't been covered before. So everything is soaking right into the wood. Everything is soaking right into the wood. So I'm using more. You can see I'm using a lot more to put on here because it's all soaking and absorbing right into the wood, which is okay, because that means that it's gonna give me some nice coverage, which is what I want. So there we go. And then, like I said, I don't like little things popping onto there. And then I'm just gonna go around the edges of this one as well. So I'm coming around the edges. Whoop, big drop. And I get so much of this stuff on my socks because I don't like it to sit on my floor for too long. So instead of me going to get a rag, which is what I should do to get it off the floor, I just wipe it onto my poor socks. My poor socks. And then sometimes I actually have to throw my poor socks away because this stuff has a, depending on what the balance, the chemical balance, or if it's something that's water-based or not. If it's not water-based, the sock is gone. If it's water-based, I can get it, I can take it and put it in the wash and it'll wash out. If not, then the sock is done for, at its moment. Benito Scapito. So, but most of the time I can save my socks. But there has been a few times I've had to throw them out. Like with the resin, I've had to throw socks out. because I put resin on them and that was the end of that sock. So, ta-da! All right, so now that we have this done, and like I said, this one is for that, that resin piece. So I'm gonna take this one off and then we're gonna bring one of our other pieces over and we're going to actually adhere the painting to it because I have to get those done. So I'm gonna take this one off because this one right here, like I said, this one, I'm gonna sit it over here. Oh, I don't know if I want to sit it on top of that. Change my mind. Don't want to sit it on that. So we're gonna bring it. I'm gonna bring this over here and sit it on this. It's gonna sit it on this little seat because I thought about it and I thought I don't want to sit it on that. And this brush I'm gonna put over here into the sink so that it can rinse out. I love having my studio up here because I have everything. I have my sink and everything. All right, so this is where we're going to be laying our panels out for them to, and I'm going to grab some of these panels that I have because I'm going to lay them on top of a flatter panel because it works better if I lay them on top of something flat. So this is one that we're going to do, but I'm going to put it over here. That's one we're going to do. And I'm going to let you guys see how I go about adhering them to the wood panels. It should be fun. So, well, fun to me. You guys are probably like, fun what? So, and the fact that it's fun because I'm getting them done. It's fun because I'm getting them done. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm looking for things that I can lay them flat on in my studio. And I do have a few things. So I'm going to pull this out right here. Now this is a panel that I have that I haven't used yet. That will be used, but it won't be used today. And it won't be used tomorrow. Because I don't like laying these flat on the floor. Because sometimes your floor isn't flat. So I like to use panels, and I have several different panels. But I'm going to use these two instead of going to my storage area and pulling out some other stuff. So these are panels that I haven't painted on yet. And they're this color because they're going to be gilded, but I haven't gilded them yet. So, and I haven't come up with the concept for them yet. So we're going to use them today, and they're the same size. So we're going to use them today to put down our paintings on. So I'm going to grab this one because this is going to get a painting on it. So I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to feel it. So I am going to sand it a little bit because I can feel some nap up. So I can feel some of the nap was raised before I put that last coat on. So I'm going to go ahead and sand that nap down. And like I said, you don't have to do a lot of sanding because the nap only raises a little bit. And I've already done that one. So I'm going to go ahead and dust that off. And yeah. So look at my hands. So now that I've sanded that nap down, now I'm going to take I'm going to go ahead and get the gel medium over here. And I'm going to put that down. Now I'm going to put gel medium on both. Grab it. Here it is. Looks like I can use some more gel medium. I hope I have enough. I think I do. So I'm going to end up using gel medium on both this panel and the actual painting. So I'm going to put gel medium on the panel and I'm going to put the gel medium on the actual painting. So I'm going to get the painting. So let's see, which painting do I want to do first? So we do the guy. And I'm going to put some plastic on this because I don't think the red will come up but you never know. So I'm gonna take this plastic. I doubt the red will come off, but I'm gonna put the plastic down on top of this anyway. And I have some weights. But I use all kinds of things for weights. But the ones I like the most are these things we make here at home. Those things are monster weights. They are monsters. So, I'm gonna move this out of the way so that I get my plastic down. Because I want my plastic down, and I don't want any bulk in the plastic. Because when I lay these flat, I don't want anything on here that's going to have a weird shape on the plastic. So, and then remember, I'm not gonna stand on these because these are panels too. So, but these are panels that I've done for another project, but I haven't used them yet. So I have to be careful how I careful that I don't stand on them because I've done that before and that wasn't good. So we're gonna do the fisherman first. I'm gonna show you how I do that. So I'm gonna grab a brush, a big brush, or a brush I consider a big brush. Where is it? Okay, so we'll do this one. Now this is a water-based glue, so it's great. Why did I get that? Why does it look like that? So I'm gonna use this big brush. It's like, it blurred for a second. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna put down on this whole thing, on this whole piece, the gel medium, and then I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna put the gel medium on the actual painting. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm hoping you guys will be able to see because I'm gonna have to go down here. Can you see? I'm gonna be on the floor. Can you see that? So I'm gonna work on the floor, but for right now, we're gonna work up here. We're gonna work up here, and you can see that's where I'm going to lay everything on this floor piece. So I'm gonna open my gel medium. I think I have enough for all of these pieces. We shall see. So, and now I'm just gonna take gel medium, lots of gel medium, and I'm just gonna brush it on here. And I wanna cover all of it, not just some of it. I want to cover all of it, all of this with the gel medium. Because this is what's going to adhere my piece. And I definitely want to get all of the edgings. So you'll see me constantly going to the edge. And I'm working quickly because it will dry. But you'll see me really hitting all of my edges continually. So because the edges for me are the most important. I do not want any of these pieces coming up on the edge. So I will be hitting these edges several times, even after I've put all of the gel medium on. Oh, you'll see me even after I do put it down and go to the painting, I'm gonna probably more than likely come back and hit these edges again as well. So now I have this all covered. I have this all covered with the gel medium. Now I'm gonna put it right here because I'm gonna come back to this right here because now I'm going to do the painting. So now I'm gonna put the gel medium on the painting. I'm going over here because I don't want to get it all over the table. So I'm gonna put this all over here. And normally I have on gloves, but I forgot to put my gloves on. So I will be getting gel medium all over my hands, and I'm okay with that. And I'm coming all the way to the edge, even though this is bigger than the actual paint, the actual board. The other thing is the reason I'm trying not to get it on my hands is because I don't want to get it on the actual painting. So you'll see me moving my hands out of the way because I don't want to get gel medium on the painting, which is okay because this is actually a glossy gel medium, so it'll just make the painting look prettier. But if I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put it on the whole painting, not just on a portion of it. So, what you'll see me doing is getting all of the edges, just like I did with the board, doing all of the edges, because that's what I want to make sure. The edges are very important. And here's something on here that I want to take off. So the edges are very important. So you'll see me going back and forth on the edges because I want to make sure that all of the edges are done. All of the edges are done. And normally, like I said, I normally have a piece of plastic down. But since I'm doing it on this tiny little table, which I don't usually do on this tiny little table, I normally do it on one of my bigger tables, but I have stuff on my bigger tables right now that I'm working on. I have some other projects I'm working on those. And actually, I don't mind this tiny table so much. It's actually working out pretty well for me. And so now I'm just gonna go in and get all the center, and I'll be going back through and hitting some of the edges. So, because if I don't feel like I got the edges well, I'll go back through and hit some of the edges. So, but it looks like I got edges pretty well. So there we go. So the whole thing, and I'm gonna put that, I got the whole back covered with that. And I'm gonna sit this down here now, and I'm gonna grab the panel. So I'm gonna pick the panel back up, and what am I gonna do with the panel? I'm gonna make sure I hit the edges again. I'm gonna hit the edges of the panel. Even though all the edges are still wet, I'm still gonna go back over them because I did put some serious gloss on them. But I'm gonna go back through on my panel edges because I wanna make sure that my edges has enough on them. So now I'm gonna take this and lift it up. And look at that, it's very limp. I'm gonna take it, turn it over, and I'm gonna put it on here. So there we go. And I'm gonna wipe my hands down because I don't want this all over. So now I'm going to adhere it to the bottom. Adhere it, adhere it, adhere it. And I forgot my roller piece. I forgot my roller, guys. So let me see, where is my roller? Because I use a roller, so I'm just gonna use my other roller, because I have a roller, I have a hand roller that I use on it. I'm just gonna use this one. I'm just gonna go ahead and use this hand roller, because I like to use a hand roller on it. So I'm just gonna use this hand roller. I'm just gonna roll it in certain areas. And yes, it'll squeeze out in those areas. So I'm just gonna hand roll with this one. Normally I use a rubber roller, but I'm just gonna use this one, and hopefully this one won't make too much of a mess. This is not the roller that I usually use. No, but this is the roller we're gonna use for now. And you can see, using the roller, it definitely, because what I'm doing with the roller is I'm getting rid of any bubbles that might be in there. Trying to get rid of bubbles. Bubbles that might be in there in the top parts. And then now I'm going to take this, because that's good. I'm going to take it, because it's squeezing out. And I have some upper and some lower that I'm going to end up cutting off. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to turn it over, because it's going to go this way, and it's going to go flat on here. It's going to go flat on here. I'm going to put it towards the center, because I have 3 of these. And now I'm going to weight it down. Okay. Weight the top down. I think I should have gotten on that. I'm going to weight the top down. I'm going to weight this end down. And I'm going to weight the center down. But I'm going to get another weight. So, actually, I'm going to put there. And I'm going to put here. So, that's good and weighed down. I think I cracked. Did I crack that one? I'm going to try to crack that. There. So that's all weighted down. And I'm gonna move this out. I have to always remember not to sit on those. Not on those. I'm gonna wipe that off because I got some glue on it. So that's how I adhere. I'm gonna make sure you guys can see that. So you can see it there, and it's all weighted down. So this will stay weighted down for a few days. It'll either stay, it takes between 1 to 2 days for this to adhere to the actual canvas, and then, to the actual board. And I have to also watch to make sure that, there we go. So turn over this, yeah, I like to keep it that way. And the other thing I have to watch is to make sure that there's no bubbles in it. So I'll check it tomorrow, and if I see bubbles in it, then what I do is I go in with a pen and I burst the bubbles. I burst any bubbles, but usually I don't get bubbles in it. But every now and then, you just never know. I have gotten a bubble here and there in some pieces, and I've had to go in and use a very fine pen and sort of poke those bubbles out. So what is that? Hey, so that's one of the things you have to do. So I have 3 more of those, but we're gonna do, I wanna take these pieces because I wanna adhere these pieces and show you how I'm going to do these pieces right here. Because these pieces, I think these pieces might be going to the gallery. So I found these really neat because I like to frame things a little differently. I don't like to frame things in your traditional framing. So I found these really nice pieces of wood and metal. And I decided to take these and frame them inside of these. But what I want to do before I do that is I want to paint this a black color. I don't want it to be this particular color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some black paint and I'm going to paint this. But before I do that, I'm going to actually use some tape to tape off the area that I don't want paint on. So I'm going to take some tape and I'm going to tape off the insides of this because I don't really want paint on the metal part. I just want it on the wood part. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this off. I'm going to go ahead and tape this off because this is one of those pieces I want to send to the gallery because I think this would be a nice piece to send to the gallery. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off, but I think I need to, let me get a blade really quick because it's not tearing the way, not quite tearing the way I would want. Let me take my brush over here too. I don't want to do this. This is one brush I definitely don't want to dry out. Some brushes I don't care, but never my large brushes. I have brushes that it's okay if they dry out because they're just cheap, inexpensive brushes and I'm not going to use them again. But my large brushes, no. All right, so I'm going to cut this because I want this to be a little accurate. So there we go. So I cut that down. So like I said, what I'm doing is I'm masking off the areas on here that I do not want to get black paint on. So this is another piece that I'm prepping for the exhibit. And this is, because this is a frame that I'm going to use. I'm going to use this as one of the frames because I wanted something a little unique. I didn't want to do like your traditional framing. So I wanted to do something a little unique, and that's what this is. So when I found these, I thought, okay, I found these in the store. I thought, this is nice. I want to use these. So that's one of the reasons I chose these. I was looking for sort of non-traditional framing for my pieces. And this is definitely a non-traditional frame for the pieces. And I think these pieces will look really nice in this one, in this particular frame. So that's why I chose it. There we go. And so you can see what I'm doing. I'm masking this whole area. So I can paint this black. Because that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to paint it black. There we go. I'm going to paint this whole thing black. There we go. All right, so that's all masked off and ready to be painted. And then I have 3 more of these to do, but we're going to go ahead and paint this one right now. We're going to go ahead and paint this one. And then I don't want this on here, so I'm going to use a screw and unscrew that. So we're going to grab some black paint. I'm going to bring this closer right here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to grab some black paint. But before I do that, I'm going to do some black ink and see if I like that. Because if you know anything about me, I love doing stuff with more of a limited color palette where the color is not as pronounced, where it's not as opaque and covering everything. So I want to try it with just this black ink sort of color. And this is a black acrylic ink. So it's not like an Indian ink, it's a black acrylic ink. So I want to try it with this and see if I like it. If not, I can always go back over it with just black paint. Ta-da. That's the beauty of it. So I'm going to put this down. Put my little white garbage bag down. It's my little white garbage bag. I've had this for a while. All right, and so I'm going to grab a brush. I'm trying to see what brush I want to use. There, we'll use this one. This is a nice size brush. This is a very nice size brush, and actually I'm going to add this. I have some black ink over here, so I'm just going to add it into this same black ink area. So, and I put a little bit of water on my brush. So here we go. We're going to take this black ink, and I'm going to put a little bit in here because this already has black ink in it. This has some black ink and paint in it, which is okay because it's not as much paint in it as there is black ink. So I'm going to back it up a little bit so, because my head's all cut off, and that's okay. So I'm going to turn this way some so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this in some water because I do want more water than ink. And then I'm just going to put this on here and just brush it because I really like the black ink feel. So I'm going to add a little more water because, like I said, I'm just and I actually like this matte feel of the black ink. I don't know if you can see that very well, but I love that matte feel because that's what black ink will give me, a very matte feel to it. And I'm already loving it. So I think this is definitely the way I will be going with the black ink because I like the feel already that the black ink is giving me. So, and then as I go over here onto here, I can even still see some of the wood, which is what I want as well. I love that. I love, love, love what I'm seeing. So I think this is definitely the direction I'm going to go in with these pieces, is just going with this black ink, sort of this black acrylic ink. So, and like I said, this is not an Indian ink, it's a difference. There is a difference between a black ink, acrylic ink, and an Indian ink. So this is not a black Indian ink. So can you see that? You can see some of the wood. It's not a lot of it, but you can see some of the wood in that grain. You can see some of the wood grain. And then I'm just going to go in here because I want to get this as well. I'm going to go inside, and that's one of the reasons why I put down the, that's one of the reasons I put down the tape so that I can get in here and do this as well, this part. So there we go. Yep. Loving what I'm doing here. So there we go. Love, love, love this. Can you see that? So I'm getting all of the inside. So I won't do this bottom edge until I finish all of this, because then it'll still give my hand somewhere to rest without turning it all black, getting my hands all black. So I'm gonna do all the insides here before I do these, my last two edges, because I have this edge. Well, this edge I can do because this edge won't matter. But it did matter a minute ago when I had it turned upside down, but now I can get this edge. I can do this edge now because I'm not going to turn it that way. So I want to make sure I get it all. So I really like that. Look at, see the matte color? That is fabulous. I absolutely love this color. I'm going to go here a little bit because this is a little lighter on this side and I don't want it that much lighter. I don't mind. There we go. I love this. I love what's going on with this. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing these. Lots of fun doing these and finishing these up. So now I'm going to go ahead and do this, this bottom one right here. And this other side, I have another side to do right here. And I still can, you know, I still have a place for my hands that isn't done yet. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this side. And now I'm going to go ahead and do this top, and then I'll do this part right here. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the top, and I'll finish off the last part of it. There we go. And now I'm going to finish off this part right here with more. And I have this rope here, but I'm going to take this rope off. I like this rope, but I'm not going to use it. It's going to be removed. But the rope is giving me an opportunity to hold it while I do this. So, but I'm not going to keep the rope. It is not going to be a part of the frame. So if you like the rope, it's not going to be a part of the frame, just to let you know. So there, that, we're all done with that. And I really, really like, look at that. I really like how that turned out. I love this. I love the black. I love how this black turned out. And I'll be doing, I'm going to do all three of them. So like I said, I have 3 more of these to go. I have, how many of the frames? I have several. I have 2 more of these to go. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 more frames to go. So I'm going to work on those. But I just wanted to kind of come on a little bit and share some of what I'm doing and how I'm going about prepping for the things that are going to the Creative Quarantine show. This is just some, like I said, this is just some of the prep work that I'm doing. Look at that. Missed the spot. There we go. Now I got it. So like I said, this is just some of the prep work for the pieces that will be going to the Creative Quarantine show, but also some of the pieces I will be selling here on my page. So I'm actually not, in the next coming weeks, I will be doing some sales on my actual page. So definitely look for that. We'll be doing some of the pieces that I've created, some of the jewelry that I've created, we'll be selling right here from my page. So look for that. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to sign out, and I'll show you how I'm going to mount some things, but I'm going to go ahead and sign out because I've been working and I still have some other work and things to do. But I just want to say thanks for tuning in. This was great. I always like it when people tune in and say hi and hang out with me. So I'm going to go ahead and head out now. And I will see you guys the next time.